Welcome back to Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade. Last time, we got ourselves a new ally, and that's pretty much the entire story of that chapter. So now we're moving on to Beyond the Borders. The next morning comes too quickly. Lyn has fought back the bandits' attack. Now she rushes for the border of Bern. If she can reach it, Lycia itself is not far off. For a moment, Lyn stops to imagine the face of a grandfather she's never seen. Meanwhile, a bandit sprite on the map is sneaking up on her. This will be, I believe, the last time we fight bandits for quite some time. So yes, will they get one up on us in their last hurrah, or will it go the same way it always does? I mean, maybe, but we also might have other threats, considering that there's still basically half the prologue left, and we need somebody to fight for that, so, well, we'll see. Now that's just giving me Hulkenberg vibes from, Metaphor, although Sane's taste in food is probably a lot less crazy than hers. And yes, of course, Sane's focus on that. I do like the fact that just, yeah, basically your entire party here gets, like, dialogue during Lyn's story, which is rare, but it's also something that they can only do because people don't die if defeated in Lyn's story. So, if they were to do, like, a full Fire Emblem game that was like this, they would need to give basically everybody plot armor. Which would also mean less stakes involved. So, I can kind of see why. I do like Path of Radiance's balance overall, though, of that kind of thing, where there's a lot of variant dialogue based on certain characters, if they're alive or not. Yeah, we've probably been sleeping in forests and old ruins for quite some time. Yep, here they are. And they've sent the somehow even uglier guy than Chapter 1. And he has an ugly name, too, you'll see. And the mouse guy's back. I mean, the Ganelon bandits have already lost twice. I think your reputation's already ruined. Just saying. But of course, this is kind of a how many times will we teach you this lesson moment. Ah, okay. Well, they've just dropped any pretense of that at this point. Meanwhile, yeah, this music, it's called Going My Way, and it's essentially Urk and Serra's theme in this game, though it played in Binding Blade for other reasons. I believe this song's actually called Going My Way in English, even in Japanese. But yeah, we're about to add 2 more eccentric characters to our band. Escort a frail Elysian priestess to Ostia. I do kind of wish this scene was voice acted, because I can just picture her tone of voice then. Yeah, it would totally be a dog and pony show situation there. And I said I wasn't going to make any more pony references. Oh, this exchange. So, the reason why this exchange is hilarious to me is that there was a time Brianna Knickerbocker, the voice actress of... Okay, a character that we haven't met yet in this story, but we'll be meeting her in a few chapters, so I guess I can mention. The voice actress of Ninian. So, she played for charity a ROM hack of this game where every character was replaced by Ninian. So you had Ninian telling herself that you're not bad to look at, and the other Ninian says, I believe that's my line. Which I guess, you know, having a good sense of self-love, I suppose. Yes, by something happening, I mean, there's a lot of bandits. No amount of money is worth this. Yay, fighting! Bandits trying to bash people's heads in! Oh no, the mouse noticed them. I would also really like to hear how those screams would sound voice acted. Yeah, I don't know why, but I used to kind of quote this a lot. Like, insert name here behind me, you there, see if you can match me, because it's a surprisingly awesome moment. Because this is our first exposure to the power of magic. The guy didn't get one-rounded, but Urk tried at least. He's trying his best. And yeah, we're already in this chapter. And yeah, now they... See, I like that they give you the NPC recruitment tutorial after the enemy recruitment tutorial, because it's kind of more important that you know how to recruit enemies, because it's like, it's generally more obvious that you can recruit green allied units. And as always, when in doubt, use Lyn. Person, yes. Sarah sure is a person who exists, as much as Urk wishes she wouldn't, sometimes. Because one of them just shot at them with an arrow? Yeah, it just happened. That's a good way to put it. I guess I actually haven't, like, fully brought this up yet, but the recruitment theme in this game is Together We Ride from Marth's games. When the previous Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem did not use this as its recruitment theme, it actually used the genealogy recruitment theme. But they kind of had to use this theme for the first Fire Emblem released overseas because of Smash Bros. Melee. Smash Melee used this song as Roy and Marth's the only piece of Fire Emblem music they actually had. And also, it went into the Fire Emblem theme itself and the other half of the Smash theme. But yeah, I like this song quite a lot. It's definitely, to me, the most iconic recruitment theme in the series, but that's almost entirely due to Smash Bros. I do miss the fact that recruitment themes haven't really been a thing in the series for a while. Especially with the way that Three Houses and I think Fortune's Weave are going to handle recruitment, just talking to people in a hub. You can't really play dramatic music for doing that. Be a good boy and go fight now, Urk. By the way, Urk and Sarah have supports, and I do ship them. So, you will be seeing me do those supports in this playthrough, because I am a shameless shipper. Anyway, mages use the magic of truth. Okay, that's kind of weird. Like, I guess this is like, maybe reason would have been a better translation. I don't know if it's the same term used for reason magic in Three Houses, but I guess the idea is that it's like, you know, based in nature and like, the thing is in this game, there's actually another form of magic that's implied to, use, more like logic and sort of, intellects. So, anima's actually more nature, whereas light magic is based on faith, as it usually is in the series. Also, Sarah. Like, Sarah's not exactly, like, my favorite character in this game. She's funny sometimes, but I don't hate her either. In particular, Sarah actually does have a surprisingly tragic backstory that explains why she acts as spoiled as she does. You won't find that out, though, unless you see some of her supports, and Master, I suppose you could say. Urk and Sarah are implied to be around the same age, though. Yeah, Sarah. Yeah, again, as like Sarah's dialogue really could use voice acting, but I've heard how she sounds in Heroes, and to me, her VA does make her sound a little bit old for her. But yeah, here's Sarah. Suppose I can give her bio right as the game is giving us a tutorial on healing.
Battles have such a terrible cost. All that time in the sun, my skin is so dry.
Sarah is your first healer, and that alone makes her useful. Her stats aren't super important for that role, to be honest, though she'll be getting experience every time she uses a staff. Her level up gains will tend to strengthen her speed, luck, and resistance. making her more evasive in case enemies attack her, and very resistant to magic. Speaking of which, her magic growth of 50% may look impressive, but her base of 2 certainly does not. She isn't able to deal damage with magic until promotion, but magic does factor into how much you heal with staves, so that low base is still an issue. Speaking of promotion, she needs a guiding ring to do that, and there is a decent amount of competition for that item. If you were to promote her though, she'll gain access to light magic, different from Urk's anima. But perhaps more notably, she'll get 40 free staff experience, which might be enough to bump up her rank. Thing is though, this game's best staves, like Physic and certain status ones, are all B ranked, and it's gonna take a while to go from D to there. And by the time you do, a certain pre-promote will join who starts out with an A rank, but we'll talk about him later. Sarah's Thunder affinity focuses on defense over offense, though its critical boost lets you occasionally deal mean counterattacks. And yes, she does support Urk once you get to Eliwood/Hector mode, much to his annoyance. Overall, Sarah is really just staff out of 10, but you're never hurting for good staff users in this game. Still, she's a good utility unit to deploy. So yeah, press the A button, select the staff. I'm gonna use my staff, watching one. Again, I love these little in-character comments during the tutorials. And now, finally, Urk has been freed from the ugly NPC palette that he just had. It's always weird to me when, like, characters are just stuck in green palettes while they're NPCs. Yeah, clerics don't equip weapons, and unlike Radiant Dawn, they can't bonk people in the head with their staves. I always loved it when they could do that, but no. Yeah, so from this point, vulneraries aren't, like, required for healing, which is good. There are other staves with different abilities, namely ones that inflict status ailments. They're not as annoying in this game as they are in some other games, but they are mostly used by the enemy than by you. So yeah. Hello, Urk. I'm not sure how I got into this mess. Well, it all started when I accepted this job, and I ended up face-palming ad nauseum. So, we have Urk now.
My name is Urk. If I'm going to fight, I will show you the true power of magic.
Urk is the first mage you get, making him useful against enemies with low resistance, particularly enemy armored units. Though enemies are weak enough in this game that armors usually fold to physical weapons anyway. But that also means Urk's magic skills are effective even against non-armored units. I describe Urk statistically as aggressively mid. His base stats are pretty standard except a kind of high speed, while his growths are the bog standard mage mix of magic, skill, speed, and resistance. Though 40% is, once again, very mid in most of those areas. Thing is, Urk is in a game where being mid is still good enough for fighting most enemies. And anima magic is quite good, especially the Thunder Tome, which is only D ranked, fairly strong, and most notably has 5 base crit. On promotion, Urk will get access to staves, though starting at an E rank. Still, having a backup healer is always nice. I think Urk's real problem is that, since enemies are so weak in this game, there's not much that only a mage can kill. And by the time enemies like that do appear, you have some better options. Still, like Dorcas, he's not a horrible investment option. He's just, well, once again, aggressively mid. Showing but uptight. Yeah, I guess he is kind of just as uptight as Sarah when it comes down to it. And the game's going to instruct us to use that magic can attack adjacent and far enemies. The downside of it compared to hand axes, though, is that most magic users are very fragile. However, magic hits on the enemy's resistance instead of defense. And I also wish that this map had added an enemy armor knight to demonstrate this, but no. Yeah, moving close to archers, and yeah, so mages are very versatile, but like, as I said, the downside is that they are a lot more fragile than hand axe users, which makes hand axes kind of disgustingly overpowered, which is sort of a shame. Oh, nice crit there. I feel like that's probably scripted, though. Also, I feel like Urk's palette and the general mage design in this game makes him look like a clown. So anyway, I said that the boss has an ugly name. Yeah, this guy's name is literally Bug. I don't know if that's better or worse than the bandit named Bone in Sacred Stones. But, yeah. I mean, he does have 8 defense, which is pretty high for this point. I mean, I think it's definitely higher than Kent Insane right now. So yeah, the rest of this map is, we're pretty much left to our own devices. There are surprisingly minimal tutorials after this point. Well, at least for this map, things will change, but okay. Yeah, well, at least there's an armory coming up. Kent's iron sword is looking very battered, so yeah, that's a significant reduction in accuracy for using the lance there. Normally, weapon triangle is not like a massive problem in this game. I mean, it's definitely better than it is in, fine. I know I kind of promised not to talk about Binding Blade that much, but, like, then it is in Binding Blade where, like, swords are kind of better than lances even when you've got weapon triangle, which is kind of sad sometimes. Yeah, so here's actually a good opportunity to have Florina rescue some people if you wanted to, but I would also quite like... Okay, let's make sure that Will doesn't get chopped. I would also like her to be getting some experience, especially against these, little mercs over here. For example, I believe I can actually tempt this guy into attacking Florina if I go over here, but right now... Okay, how much does the Iron Lance screw her over weight-wise? 8? Yeah, she loses 4 speed, so she goes down to 6, which is almost certainly not enough to double you. No, it is. I mean, I actually can't double you anyway. But if I go down to 4, I believe that I get doubled in return, so... I'll try using the Slim? Let's see. The house does actually give a slight avoid bonus, so having the mercenary attack Florina from there is probably not a great idea, but we'll see. Also, speaking of Florina, I have a story regarding her for later on this map. Oh, hi there. I do not like that one crit, but thankfully, yeah, the mountain gives me a defense bonus as well as an avoid bonus. Now, like, in a lot of games, I suggest, like, giving Urk some experience, because you really could use mages against, you know, high defense enemies. The problem is, as I said in Urk's bio, in this game, enemies are fragile enough that you don't really need magic to kill them. And Urk himself is as I said in the bio again, a fairly aggressively mid-unit, but, like, I mean, Urk's still decent if you want to use him. Okay, I can do this and give Lynn a little bit of experience. Do you like the sound that she makes when she sheathes that, again, I will always call it the Manikatai, because it's just, that sounds so much cooler than Manikadi, but, okay. Oh, nice. I had a feeling that she could do this with the Iron Lance. So yeah, this is a good reason why you want to have, multiple different weapon types on Florina, just so that she can switch between them in different circumstances. Okay, then, because, like, here's the thing as well, like, oh, actually, I can go ahead over here and have Sarah heal Florina. Also, yeah, there is a different theme for healing. I'm going to be showing Sarah's animations for, like, this amount. Sometimes I like to turn my animations off. There's an option in the, well, options to set animations individually for every character. Sometimes, like, to kind of make things as streamlined as the future Fire Emblem games, I like to turn off animations for staff users, and I especially like to turn off animations for a certain character we'll be getting later. Okay, right now, Urk can actually visit this house and get a little bit of advice. Let me guess, more magic tutorials? Yep, more magic tutorials. Magic can be used to attack enemies both near and far. Plus, you might find that magic can hit an enemy that normal weapons do not harm. I do wish the tutorial actually put an armor knight in this map to demonstrate this. However, mages are notoriously susceptible to physical attacks, and hand axe users aren't, so this game is very imbalanced. Yeah, true. I don't think I actually did lose Urk in my first playthrough, but, as I've said, I definitely, like, did, like, lose people in, Lin mode in my first playthrough. I obviously do not want to have this guy. I mean, my hit rate against him there is not that bad, but okay, yeah, let's have Sane go here so that he advances a little further into the map, but also blocks off Urk. And you went for Kent anyway. And I assume Kent's gonna double you, because that's kind of just how it goes. No, he didn't. Okay. Oh, because the Iron Sword was about to break. So actually I should mention, like, I believe that when a weapon breaks, you don't actually get weapon experience for the attack that broke the weapon. Because, yeah, weapon experience is what you're getting, like, it's what fills up those bars there. So Sane's sword rank is way lower than his, lance rank. Meanwhile, Florina is like, yeah, she's still at D. So, the thing about, weapon ranks that, in this game that's important to know, is that I mean, that's still pretty likely. So I have to hit 280s under true hit or 175. Honestly, I actually think I'd rather go for 175. There we go, yeah. I don't know, like, I used to be a pretty big statistics nerd. I'm not really anymore, but maybe I should try and calculate. Well, that was fortuitous. I wonder if they'd actually, you know what? Can't take that right now and attack the archer. It's not a kill, but, can I block you off so you don't get to Florina so she can actually finish you next turn? No, he is... Yeah, he's kind of stuck within... Yeah, because if I put somebody there... Actually, is there a way that I can... How much con does... Yeah, she has 4. Okay, I have an idea. So, that blocks off the archer. Sane, yoink, and then he stays there. And Lynn goes here, takes Florina, and drops her there. So that way Florina is free to move next turn. And she'll be able to finish off that archer. Assuming that he doesn't attack Urk and die, which might happen, but yeah. Okay. I want to say this boss doesn't move, but 19 attack versus... She exactly dies. Let's not take any chances in case he does decide to move for some reason. I don't think he does, but better be safe than sorry. Hi there. Okay, he's on a mountain, which is a little bit problematic. But he only has 2 HP, so I can probably use the Slim Lance against him. Because, yeah, the Slim Lance is very weak, but it does have very high accuracy and low weight. It also has a little bit of crit on it, so it's got its advantages sometimes. But once Florina gets enough speed that she doesn't get weighed down by Iron Lances, Iron is usually better. Oh yeah, speaking of magic, Pegasus Knights in this series are typically known for having high resistance, though Florina's resistance doesn't really start that good, but she has a pretty high growth in resistance. And... okay, what is this shop selling? Oh! Yeah, I will take some of these. I don't need any hand axes, because I think Dorcas's one is enough for me, but I'm gonna take... You know what? I may as well buy 3 javelins. Now, an important note is that you are limited by your inventory slots at this point in the game. You don't have a convoy right now, even though that is a standard feature in most future Fire Emblems. You do not have a convoy in Lin mode, so if a character tries to pick up an item and their inventory is full, you have to throw away something, so bear that in mind. Or you might end up getting rid of a potentially good item. So, let's go ahead and heal up. Yeah, healers get a little bit of experience every time they heal someone. I mean, I call them healers, but, you know, class-wise, they're just like clerics, but, okay. You know what, let's have Sane visit this. Well, you say that right after I spent most of my money on javelins. I actually just think I remember that advice from playing this for the first time. However, well, yeah, I definitely did not take it. So, I should mention that, I think I'll talk about the Lin Funds ranking in a later chapter, because it's like, it gets a little more relevant, later on, I'll just say. So let's fight this guy. What, you mean the Ganelon bandits who, again, lost to us twice? And have been doing a very good job of their banditing so far. 19 attack. Yeah, she has enough defense to not die in one shot. So, something that I think I should mention here is that, when I said earlier that I remember, like, I may have lost somebody before this chapter, but I don't know. But I definitely remember that I lost somebody on my first ever playthrough in this chapter. Sadly, it was Florina. I was trying to have her beat the boss for experience. Like, even back then, I kind of contradicts the fact that I thought she was a lame little girl and didn't like her, but, to be fair, I mostly did that to tease my sister, because my sister liked her. Sorry, me and my sister get on really well, but, you know, we had sibling, you know, moments. If you have, I mean, I don't want to say you get it if you have siblings, because I've known a lot of families that, like, where the siblings just did not get along at all. So, it always varies, you don't always, but I had a good relationship with my sister. Yeah. But, like, I would sometimes playfully tease her about the characters that she liked. And... But yeah, so what happened with Florina was that I tried to get her the experience from this boss, and, she sadly got a little bit owned. I think I actually knew the terminology owned from back then. So Urk can do 9. Lyn does 8. Okay, I'm actually... Like, if one of the two of them crits, I'm not totally opposed to Lyn getting the experience here. But yeah, what's Florina? Okay, she's at level 4, so... I guess, in a way, Lyn's actually a little behind at this point. No special dialogue here. We've abandoned all pretense of Lyn asking people if they're Taliver bandits, because we fully know that they're not at this point. So, okay. Now, I have people on hand to rescue Florina if, although granted, I don't think I've actually visited this house yet, have I? I have not, yeah. Tell me, are you using the R button? Dorcas's mind is just melting right now. What's an R button? So you don't understand, use the R button to investigate. And that is good to know. Like, this actually threw me off in terms of muscle memory when I started playing this again, because in Path of Radiant, it's the X button that has that function. So yeah, what he's describing is you can do this, and I've already been doing this a lot over the course of this playthrough. So yeah, I have a potential emergency extraction squad in Kent. But there we go. History did not repeat itself. So yeah, I remember that if, Florina gets, like, defeated, cause every single character in Lyn mode actually has, like, an after-chapter conversation if they're lost that gives a justification for why they can't fight anymore. And for Florina, she breaks her arm. So, like, I applaud the writers for coming up with reasons for every character as for why they get non-lethally removed from the battlefield in Lyn mode. Only those in the service of good can use them? Sarah, you don't have no idea how wrong you are. Seriously, we're gonna be meeting a lot of enemy staff users as we go forward. Yeah, I remember, like, in my first place, I was like, wait, don't go! Oh, they're definitely gonna go now. Thank you, Sane, for ruining everything. Lyrical name. Oh, wait! Thank you, Sane, for not ruining everything! Because now Sarah's like, she's in the service of nobility, we should join her! What deviousness are you contemplating now? Urka's like, oh no, I see where this is going. Well, Say's not going to object because she's a girl. I do think it's very funny that in 3 houses, Sylvain will immediately join you if you have female Byleth. I mean, we are definitely in need of healing. Yeah, it's an inheritance dispute, don't worry about it. We have a bunch of people who are trying to kill us. Ugh, you don't mind potentially making an enemy of the, Kalen, Marquisdom? It's not like a duchy, is it? Anyway, you're gonna be making some enemies if you keep going with us, just saying. Granted, though, if things go right, those enemies will not be in power for much longer. Yeah, their dynamic is pretty funny sometimes, this is why I liked supporting them. Oh, speaking of those people that we're going to be enemies of, it's also funny how you can very clearly see a preview of one of the later maps. That little girl crossed the border. I don't even really know how to pronounce his real name properly, I just call him Lundergunden. All send out soldiers to meet her. Hold nothing back. Do anything to finish this now. First the old man and now the girl. They cling to life like a drowning man to a rock. Double the poison strength. Triple the poison strength. Squeeze every last drop out of those insolent. No, wait, that's the wrong evil ruler. If he struggles, hold him down and pour it down his throat. I mean, you're pretty much losing plausible deniability of his death in this case, but I mean, granted, I get the feeling that whoever you're having poison your brother, you're also gonna kill them afterwards, just so there's no witnesses. Anyway, yeah. Backstabbing and medieval politics, yay! Speaking of which, that's the exact subject of the next chapter. See you all then.